Hey, so we're back again, man. Hey,
been
good
a
to see
while.
you, Danny. Yeah, hell yeah, it's been a while. We have a special guest tonight, Ari Guerra, AGG, Ari Giselle Guerra. Huh? What's up?
Nothing
Huh?
much. I'm just
Yeah?
here.
Just here? All
Yeah.
right. Hey, Ari has been with the lab for several years. She came to us to do some vertical class. She's a college volleyball player, born and raised in Laredo,
Yeah.
right? So let's get right into it, man. It's been a while, Danny. I hadn't seen you in a while. We tried to get together, try to get the band together over, what was it, 2023 Christmas. Just didn't happen for whatever reason. A lot of things, a lot of moving parts. You know, Santa. You know, the Grinch decided to come out that year.
We did have the Grinch in here.
Yeah.
But it's tough. Like a lot goes into this.
Oh yeah, yeah, no,
lot.
yeah, yeah.
I thought it would
Hey,
be easy,
you
but-
know, you can never go without saying the man behind the scene, which none of this happens if Dante's not around. You know,
Yeah, new producer
the big,
again.
the big D,
Maybe
the big
he's
D.
like
When
our
you talking
seventh
about,
guy.
yeah,
So hopefully we.
yeah. Hopefully he'll stick around and we'll get these going and we'll do a lot. We'll do a lot of good stuff, a lot of fun stuff together with all of us. Yeah, so let's get into it. Ari, you came to us about 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're born in Laredo. You're raised in Laredo. And so what elementary school did you go to?
I went to Bonnie Garcia Elementary. It's kind of near the SAC. My mom worked there. She's a
Okay.
PE teacher there. So I started off going there just because it was easier for her to take me to school. And then I followed that feeder pattern, going into Gonzales, my middle school years, and then I went to South for my high school.
So you went to United South High School.
Wait, you went to
Yeah.
South?
Yeah, I
thought
went
you
to
went to
South.
Alexander.
What?
What?
No.
This whole time I thought you went to
That's
Alexander.
crazy. No, I went to South.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in South.
No
yeah.
way.
Yeah, I knew that.
I had no
Yeah.
idea.
That's crazy.
I had
crazy.
no idea.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you went to South. And so what sports did you play growing up?
Just volleyball. Yeah.
Just volleyball?
Yeah. My parents didn't let me play like other sports. My mom was kind of just like, she didn't want me to like get injured playing something that I didn't want to take seriously growing up.
Okay.
Yeah. I kind of wish that was a little different just because I feel like coaches like people or like the student athletes that play multiple sports.
Correct.
But I mean, I still played college, so it
Yeah.
worked out in its
Yeah.
some way.
Well, yeah, college volleyball, yeah, which is crazy because we're in the 956 area code, and you don't get too many 6-footers.
Close.
Right.
Close.
Okay, 5'11" and what 3/4.
Good.
I mean, you don't get too many guys that are that tall, much less a female.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a jab.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not a jab. Okay,
on,
bro. Okay, you're 5'9", but it's all good, bro.
Shoes and double sock.
So okay, so you played at United South. Tell us about your high school years. How was that? How did you guys go to state? Did you guys get close to Sweet 16? How far did y'all go? What was your experience there? At United
First
South?
round. It's
usually
okay.
how
It
it
was
goes.
it was cool. Yeah. So my freshman year, I actually made the JV team, and I remember I was pissed. Like I remember I went to my mom and I cried. I was like, "This is whatever." And then I had played one JV tournament, and then they asked me to play the next day for a varsity tournament, and then I just stayed on the varsity team. So that was really cool. I really don't remember much of like my freshman year, my sophomore year. I feel like I was still like really young. But all I remember is like it was just high school club season, like practicing like every day. Like I couldn't miss a day. And then I had my knee surgery. I think it was my sophomore year. And then I had torn my meniscus. And they kind of just always told me it was like mental. But I like was not. Like it was not mental. Like it was just like something real. And then I ended up having my first surgery. And then after that, we went through a transition of coaches.
Right.
And then that was kind of like something to look forward to, something that was a little different. And then it was gonna be my final year playing with like best friends I grew up with, so that was
Okay.
also pretty cool. But then my first day back, I tore it again. So then I ended up making the decision to play throughout the season with it torn, and like tried my best. We ended up breaking like a 18, don't quote me, 18 or 21 year playoff drought.
Oh wow.
That year.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So it was really cool. It was a really cool experience. It was really fun, and like even just like spending it with like friends I grew up with was just something that was very special. But then the day after playoffs, my mom called the doctor and was like, "Hey, we need to like schedule surgery again." And then I got it done in San Antonio, and then ended up having arthritis from that surgery, or from that like whole knee situation. And then that's when my senior season came about, and I had to learn how to play with a knee brace. And it was fun. I mean, we ended up making it again to the playoffs, so that was also like really good for like the school and the program itself. I do believe we had we had a lot of height that year. I do remember that. But I do remember, I guess, thinking that and like feeling that we could have gone a little further. But nonetheless, like I'm super grateful for like the experience I had in high school. And yeah, and I did have a moment where I didn't want to play college. I do remember that, and I was just like, I remember telling coaches like I was not wanting to continue. I kind of like fell out of love for the sport, especially through like the surgeries. I think that was like super. I'm grateful for them in a way. They did teach me a lot of patience, and I remember like I had little coloring books and like while doing a little slow bike, and it kind of like pained me that like while I was biking and learning how to walk again, like others that wanted to pursue the same things that I did were in the gym working.
Right.
But then like I don't know, I found like a second like, no, I'm grateful for the opportunity to keep going. Right. And I did find myself like playing like if every game as if it was my last, because I didn't know that the game that I was playing or the hit that I was going through would be my last before I had to sit out again. Right. So I think that just helped me in a way like mature and like grow through the sport. So yeah, just grateful for that.
Wow, that's crazy. Now, you said childhood friends. That was a great experience for you. Did they continue on to college as well? Or
No.
it was just you?
Yeah, and they were a grade above me. So
okay.
I played my senior season.
Oh, okay. So they're a year older than you. Okay. So from that team, you were the only one that went to go play college.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
my
impressive.
senior. I had another one of my teammates. She went to go play at Midland.
Okay.
Yeah, and she was also like 5'10", 5'9",
5'11".
so it was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
What was your recruitment process to go to TAMIU?
So she was actually the head coach at LC, and she had recruited. It was me and another girl from Laredo, Danny, who's like a really good friend of mine. And we had signed to go play there, but then she last minute. They had fired, or she left, or whatever that situation happened at TAMIU, and she ended up applying for that job. She ended up getting the head coaching job at TAMIU, and she took us with her. So, I mean, originally I was supposed to go to LC, start off my 2 years there, but then we just had different plans and ended up committing there. They did have, I guess, their eye on me, I guess, kind of growing up. The assistant coach there was my coach when I was like 12. So then I guess growing up with him, he kind of like knew what I was about and like how I played. But then he was also there for when I was like saying I didn't want to play college. So it was kind of cool that like even after expressing that like I did change my mind, that the opportunity was still there, and I wanted to take it to help my family out like financially as well as like pursuing my own goals and like playing college.
Wow.
So when was that? Because LC hasn't had sports in a while.
Yeah, so that was my senior year. It was getting close to like when that whole spring break that turned into like forever. That C stuff.
That C stuff.
That C stuff.
Was it 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
March
Man,
2020.
4 years ago.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys are old, bro.
So, but you guys played your season that year, right?
Yeah, because we're in the fall.
Okay, yeah.
So all that hit, that like baseball, like spring
Yeah.
season.
Track, all them. Yeah, that was not good. So you went to go play TAMIU. How was your freshman year? And I mean, obviously, you know, you got girls that are 22, 23 on the team,
Yeah.
and you're 18,
Yeah.
17, 18.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
So going in, I kind of just got the talk that like, hey, like there's a lot of girls a lot older than you are. It's different than JUCO where you have to like fight with the person maybe that's instead of a freshman competing with a senior, you're gonna compete with a sophomore type deal. And I kind of was like super open to it. Like I was like ready for the challenge. Once C19 hit, like it was kind of a little different. Just the mandates, the regulations. We only had, I think it was like 6 people were allowed in the gym, including coaches. So like you don't get a lot of like seeing everyone play at once. See, like it was kind of just based off of whatever mini, and it was like 45 minutes each with each person too. So it was kind of like harder. And then the playing situation, we played the same 3 teams like 4 times. And then the top 3 of those like made it to like another, like I guess like the conference tournament, but it kind of wasn't the same as like actually like fighting for a spot to go play that tournament. So it was just like hard, and like we were COVID testing. Sorry, we were C testing. Sorry.
I actually don't think it's that big of a deal.
Okay, are you sure?
But yeah, you know who got. Well, anyways, go ahead.
I think
go ahead. No, we're good. We're
Okay.
good. We're good.
Cool.
We're good.
Just keep
so
rolling.
Yeah.
Keep rolling.
And it was hard because like even during that, like we weren't allowed to do anything socially like at all, and we would just because of like the risk, and if anyone would get anything, then we would all get shut down. So it was kind of just like walking on eggshells like all the time. So it was just kind of hard. But yeah, like I mean, I don't know, there's not really much to it, just because my freshman year was kind of a blur. Just
and how about your sophomore? How did they go from your freshman?
My sophomore year was a little interesting.
Yeah.
I did, yeah. So that one, I mean, things kind of like did, we were able to go play out of town and stuff. I did discover, I guess it's stress induced. It was a very hard, very tough season. And I would say like all of us agree on that, like anyone that I played with, even coaches. And I started just like randomly thinking I was like gaining so much weight. Like I honestly was like, this is insane. Like, why do I feel so big? Like, and I was bloating like crazy. My face was always fat. And it was just a weird feeling. And then all of a sudden I started noticing that like gluten and dairy started to like affect me. And it wasn't like in ways that like other people I guess have it. I kind of would just like excessive, like I'd bloat so bad, and it would affect like my moods, and I was getting strep like every other week.
Oh, wow.
And my tonsils still haven't like gone. That's why I kind of have like a raspy man voice just a little bit, just because of like the whole tonsil situation. And it was just like I couldn't figure it out, and then that was kind of always like frustrating. I mean, I understand like if one of your players just can't consistently like play or go to practice because of these things, I would be upset too. So then that was kind of like I just felt like I was always kind of like falling behind. But I was still like, I mean, we were a little more successful that year in terms of like compatibility with like players and stuff. Our record wasn't that great either that year. So it was just a very rough season. But then I started trying to like figure out why I was gaining so much weight. Because then I thought, I was like, but then I started realizing that like I was creating a lot of like food sensitivity issues. So then I started having to like cut out almost everything, and I ate like a bag of salad a day. Like I know that sounds so horrible, like as like a student athlete, like you do want to like fuel yourself, but I was just so scared because everything would like bloat and it would hurt and I would keep getting sick. So yeah, I kind of like, I feel like my brain kind of like blocks that season out,
Right.
just as like a, I don't know, like a defense I guess thing. But I just remember that season was
Did
really
you ever find
hard.
out what it was though?
No, yeah. So no one in Laredo, I know you're going to get mad at that, but no one in Laredo has been able to like help me out and like actually put like a thing down.
But you've seeked help.
Yeah, I definitely have.
care.
And then I ended up making a journal over the summer of that semester, that season. And I would write down everything I ate, like ingredients. And then whenever I'd flare up, I would like make a certain meal that I knew that wouldn't flare it up with that ingredient. And I would start figuring out like what my stomach could take, like what would bloat me, what would make my face get swollen. And I would like jot down like my exercise. I'd run a lot more. I started doing a lot more like yoga, like breathing, try to like figure myself out. Cause I knew it was like stress, but I knew ways that I could help myself like de-stress, but I needed to teach, I guess, my body how to like handle stressful situations. Cause like mentally I was like, oh, I can take this, but my body would shut down.
Right.
Like that makes any sense.
Right.
So then I would go to doctors and they're like, just drink more water. I was like, babe, I'm drinking like a gallon a day, babe. Like
That's really good advice.
I don't know.
And people go to school for 10 years to to
Tell you,
tell other
drink
people
water.
to drink water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard,
That's-
and
That's really good advice.
yeah,
Well,
so it
that-
was just frustrating.
That happens a lot. Yeah, I mean, amongst athletes, that you're gonna get that, that stomach issue because of this amount of stress. You see it a lot. It's not talked about very much, but you see it a lot amongst athletes. And athletes don't want to say, "Oh, there's something wrong with me." They're so competitive that their lung could be dragging on the floor, and they're like, "No, I'm ready to go."
I mean, especially when it has to do with like going to the restroom. It's kind of embarrassing.
No,
Like,
but it happens.
it's
But it
kinda
happens,
hard.
though. It happens. I mean, the reality is that it happens. I mean, once you get to the pro level, those people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on their health every year, and it's because a lot of it's stress induced, and we don't look at it that way. But that it is stress induced. Especially, and it didn't help that you just went to salad too. I mean, going to salad, and then you needed high quality protein, lean meats and stuff like fish, and so, but good thing we have Thorne, because that kind of helped you out.
Yeah.
The Thorne greens, the probiotics by Thorne, good old Tom used to help us out over there at Thorne. We got a new rep now. Tom's no longer with us, but
Like he's alive, right?
no, Tom. Tom's alive. He's no longer with the ELEV8 Podcast anymore, but
Okay.
but he's still there. He's running around the East Coast
Hope we're
somewhere.
well, Tom.
Yeah, Tom was good, man. Tom was good. Tom was really good. You put in an order, and that order would get to Laredo in 3 days, which is crazy because anything getting to Laredo in 3 days is
Unheard
just
of.
crazy. Yeah,
Not even
Yeah.
prime.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, well, that's good. So you have it under control now, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have our moments, but
Yeah.
but then like with that, I started realizing like I started to learn how to like cook for myself and how to like shop for myself
Yeah.
and and I was able to like I guess gain like whenever you say no to things, like you know what I mean, like sweet, like what's that?
Like
What's that
tolerance,
word?
not tolerance.
What when you
just
start?
discipline.
Yeah. I was able to like yeah.
Just eat what
Discipline,
you're
yeah.
supposed to and
Yeah,
avoid
so
what
that
you're
was,
not supposed
and
to.
like what's crazy is like, so I went straight to salads, but then I realized that like I can't do fresh greens, but I can do cooked greens. So then it was just like
You just can't eat
a
anything.
big no, for real. Like it's kind of sad, and but then like if I go with my friends, like I would get embarrassed to say like, oh, I can't eat it, so I would still eat it because like I didn't want to be like I can't. But then I started just like learning like who's dealing with the cramps. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
So once that
But-
went away, in your junior year, what would you say an average day would be for you? A typical day,
My junior year,
or
like,
really any year, but
like
just as a
during
college athlete.
season. Okay,
During
so
season, off season.
during season, my junior year, I believe we went back to normal schedule because my sophomore year we had like 5 a.m. practices. So then that was kind of like really hard just because like you already lose sleep as it is with like homework and stuff. So just, having to get that early. My junior year, we went back to, I think it was like 8 a.m., which is like a lot better.
Right.
So it's like wake up. We had to get there 45 minutes before to like set up and like make sure like everything was like in line with like trainers and all that good stuff. And then we'd practice, and then I would shower in the locker room and then go straight to class. I think my junior year had maybe like 2 classes back to back, had like a little lunch break. And then during season, I didn't have a job. So that one was like very just like school, volleyball, like, and that was, I guess, really it. A lot of like homework was like in the afternoon because we do have like a lot of classes. During the off season, I did have a job. So it was like lifts in the morning, practice afterwards. I'd grab a bite, go to class, and then I would work for the rest of the day, and I would get out like at 8 and then do homework and then just get ready to start over again. And then during the summer, it's just lift in the morning, getting like playing whenever I could, and like working every other, I guess, hour I could. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing really too crazy on my schedule. I think
It's
it's
not
just,
too crazy.
But I've heard a lot of schools are backing up their workouts now because Some schools do 5 a.m., 6 a.m.s, and it's not good for the athlete. And there's no point of working out that early, really.
No,
If you work out at 6, you could squat at 8, 2, or 9.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a squat at 6 is gonna make you stronger.
Well, there's a lot of the times have changed, obviously, and as we all have phones, everything's real time. Everything's like right then and there. They try to assassinate a former president. We all know, like, it's right then and there. Like, it's like within 30 minutes, that just happened. And so they're doing the same with the training. And, Huberman, Dr. Attia, they're doing all this research because they have their own labs. And, Dr. Huberman, he has his over in Stanford. So, he's got 3 labs going. He's testing things. He's doing things like, on the fly. So when a lot of things have changed, something as simple as, 6 meals. You got Dr. Gabrielle Lyon out there as well talking. And, one of the things I've said for a while is I don't think we have an obese problem. I think we have a muscular problem. Because I feel like, we're not out there in the gyms. We're not doing what we need to do in order to build that muscle, which is you're going to need when you get older. Because what's typical with a geriatric elderly person, they fall, they break a hip, and they're dead in 6 to 9 months. That's just the way it works. So let's say the geriatric population, the number one exercise for them is what? Trap bar deadlift, why? Because it's overall body, and, they're going to be able to withstand a fall. Their grip, they can stop themselves. They won't break an elbow, and they can prevent themselves from breaking a hip. Yeah. So all of these things are changing now, and they're going really quick. Like training at 6 a.m. Exactly. At our school, we started at 5:30 in the morning. 6 a.m., do you really need that? No.
I think it's just a very old school approach.
Yeah, very old school.
Because of all those studies.
Like
what they're learning.
Having them wake up in the morning. And
I agree with that too, but I don't think the risk to reward is enough.
What they're learning is the recovery is more important.
Right.
Yeah, and that is one thing, I was in the training room, a lot, and I'm so grateful for, the staff that, I've built really good connections with them as well, and it's just you spend a lot of time in there, and I think that's just so much more important, because if not, I think I would not be able to play my 5th year. Let's be real here with the 2 knee surgeries and all that good stuff. But
so then the big year came, your senior year.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. So throughout the other years, the people who played above me, they were great on the court, great people. Right. And that was one thing that I really admired about the team, is that it doesn't matter who was on the court, who wasn't. Everyone felt, great, and nothing was ever fake or, in a negative way, Especially my junior year, I think that was the closest I've ever been to people in the same position as I was. And in my senior year, I was in the off season. We only had to be 6 of us total coming back from a 20-some year team. And so I kind of knew that I have all this time to really train on my own in my position. And senior year, thank God, I was able to really just play and just go all out. At the beginning of my season, I did, I just had this shoot to the abdomen area. And I kind of we just took it as this is what I'm feeling. No one knew kind of what was going on. It's not really something that like a shoulder, it's right. Kind of uncommon. And then it started just getting progressively a lot worse, and we started figuring out and trying out different type of tape methods to kind of try to bring the abdomen back together. But as a hitter, you use your ab for literally everything. And I discovered that I couldn't laugh. It sucked because I love to laugh, but I couldn't do simple things. Getting out of bed in the morning, I was rolling out. I couldn't sit up. It was just so gross. I felt horrible. And I don't know, it was weird. And then we progressed into like a faja type.
Right.
Like they would just wrap me around, I guess, and it was just like really uncomfortable, and it like added 20 pounds to the pictures. I swear to God, it was so embarrassing. Like I was like hitting, and I just see like a massive, like just massive girl. Like I'm like, this is horrible. And then it ended up like getting a lot worse, and they thought it was a hernia at first. And I was in the trainer all the time, and she was always trying to like dig in and try to find like a hole. She couldn't find one. And then she was like, well, maybe it's just muscular, like I'm hoping it is. But it also ran the risk of like seeing a doctor, just because of like sitting me out and stuff like that. And then I ended up pulling like the oblique, and then it ended up getting to like lower abdomen. And that was like so bad. Like it's pain I would not wish on anyone else, like truly. Yeah. And I remember like we'd have a water break, and I would run to the restroom. I'd cry for like 7 seconds. I'd give myself 7 seconds to just let everything out. And I would just go back in and just like try like just playing it out. Like I knew it was my last year there. I knew I was like last year playing with like people I cared about. I knew there's a lot of people who like cared so much about like the team and like playing that like, I mean, it was a genuine push, you know? And I just knew that like given I had the opportunity to play after so many years of like not being able to really, it just meant a lot. And yeah, so yeah. But then after, I think it was in the 5th set of a game that we needed to play like and win consistently in order to make the playoffs and stuff like that. And the score was like, it was like 23-24 in like the 4th set. And we had to force a 5th set, so we had to win. And I took a swing, and I felt like a straight shot to the side. And I remember like I went to the assistant coach, and her name's Annabelle, and I love her. And she honestly was like the biggest help this past season. And she was like, you're going to do it. And I was like, it hurts. Like, I remember just like crying. I was like, I can't do it. Like, it hurts. And she was like, I'm not going to hear this till afterwards, whatever. And I went back in. We ended up winning the set and ended up winning the game in 5. And that was just like so crazy. And I just knew that like after that, like pain was just temporary. And like, it was just going to like, I knew what I wanted. I knew that like, you know, people supported me and like cared about me. And I don't know, it was just really rewarding. Definitely pain I don't want to experience again, though. Like, that is definitely, like, I was like, this is my 1 season. Like, if it happens my 5th, like, I don't know how I'm going to make it. Like, it was crazy. But after I was able to go see a doctor, and they told me that, like, they couldn't really tell me what was going on again, I guess.
Right.
But then after, like, so many tests, I just have, like, about, like, 45% of my abdominal wall is just, like, messed up. And just, like, with all, like, of the trauma to it, it's something that like I can't really like get back. I can strengthen, and I've been going to body mechanics, and they've been such a big help in like targeting that area. It's just hard, but through it, I was able to get first team all conference.
That's awesome.
Which was actually kind of insane
Congrats.
to me, because I went to like never playing to like first team with this whole like ab deal. Like I was so emotional, it was crazy, but obviously like it wouldn't have been able to be done without like my teammates and coaches and like training staff, the athletic trainers. Like it was crazy. And then I got like offensive player of the year for like volleyball at TAMIU. So that was also kind of like really huge coming from it.
Wow.
But yeah, it was a crazy senior year. But I mean, like the girls that I got to like spend it with next to and like play with, like it just made it so much better. A highlight of that year was, West Texas A&M. Yeah, they're like,
like number
huge.
1 in the nation,
Yeah.
Division II. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were like undefeated. They're previous, reigning national champs, and we had to win that game in order to like make it to like the playoffs. And we were playing them at home. And I remember I got to the gym, and I was like tying my shoes, and I was like, well, it's the last time I'm tying my shoes. Like, that's great, And I went out to just play like any other game. And then we respected them. They're such a great team. But we beat them the first set, like beat them. And I was like, damn, okay. And then we beat them the second set. And I was like, damn, guys, are you about to sweep number 1? Like, this is crazy. And everyone was going crazy, but I was like, nah, whatever. And then they won the 4th. I was like, you know what? No, they won the 3rd. And I was like, you know what, guys? Like, I saw it coming. Like, they're a great team. Like, they're just, and they have this, she was an outside, and she's so freaking good. And she was actually going through similar things with her ab too. So she was like, oh my God, we're like soul sisters. This is crazy. And I was like, there's no way. Literally the best player in this freaking country is like saying we're like soul sisters because of the ab. I was so honored. It was so funny. And then they won the 4th set. And we're like, damn, guys, like we got to win this 5th. And we ended up winning the 5th set. And it was something that like nobody's ever done. Like people thought that like the like Instagrams and like the media and stuff was like wrong that we lost. Like I honestly would have believed that we lost. And it was just crazy. It was a crazy experience. Everyone was like screaming, throwing water everywhere afterwards. It was like I've never felt such joy in my life. Like, and then, yeah, so we ended up making the post conference. We lost first round, but who cares? Because we beat number 1. So like technically we're national champs.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was your national championship right there.
Yeah,
West
because they
Texas,
ended up coming out.
5th set, yeah.
Yeah, because they ended up like winning it again, I believe, this past year.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like, guys, technically, like,
We
on a
beat 'em.
good day. I was like, on a good day. But yeah, it was the craziest thing. It was really cool.
So throughout your college career and also your high school career, do you have a certain game? Obviously, it was West Texas in your
Yeah,
college.
it was crazy.
How about high school? What was like the one memorable game that you remember? Is like, you know what? I crushed it.
TBH, I don't really remember much of high school. Like, I wish there's a lot of times I'll ask my sister, I'm like, Ellie, was I even good in high school? Like, and she's like, yeah, you hit a ball. I was like, really? Like, I don't remember anything. Like, I feel like I maybe gave down balls. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Right?
I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of weird. So, yeah, sorry,
That's
I can't really
crazy.
remember
That's crazy.
a game from high school.
So after that senior year at TAMIU, I remember you came in here one day and you were stressing about a final.
Oh, my God.
But that's not my point. I just had that. I just had that random
Yeah.
thought. How did you end up at? How do you pronounce this school?
Bushnell.
Bushnell.
Yeah.
How did you end up there?
Yeah. So afterwards, I kind of like, I was really torn between taking my 5th, because that offered me at TAMIU, or like getting into the portal. And I was kind of just like really like torn, because like I knew that, you know, like my family's here, and if I have opportunity to like take this and still play here for another year, like it'd be great. But another part of me was like, I know with like all the traveling we have done, like the world is so big. Like there's so many things to do out there. Like, and that was one thing that I'm so grateful for. So I was like, I feel like I would be cutting myself short if I didn't give myself the opportunity to go see where I can go play, and to go see like where I could see myself like in a year or two, you know? And so then when like a good friend of mine, she was like, start just emailing a bunch of coaches that like are in places that you would really probably see yourself. And I was like, really? Like, I don't think people would want me. Like, it was kind of weird. And then I kind of just started emailing out. And then sure enough, like, what's funny is they were actually like in my junk mail. Yeah. So I didn't even see them until I had opened my junk mail, and I was like, oh crap. Like, and it was like a week that they had responded, and I felt so bad. I was like, they probably think I'm the most irresponsible person on this earth. Like, I started just like overthinking it. And then we started chatting up, and then I kind of like, I had a good feeling about it. Like I felt like, okay, like I found them. And I had talking to other schools, or spoke to other schools. And I mean, like, great people, great programs. I don't know. It just didn't really feel kind of right. So I scheduled a phone call with this coach. And so I work at an archery range, which is upstairs to a gun range. So obviously you hear background noises, like, you know, while there. And he had scheduled a call, and I had made arrangements to step out so I can attend to this call. Ended up, once in a lifetime, this place is literally packed. Like, and I'm going crazy, and I just feel my back pocket, it's just vibrating. And I'm like, oh, it's probably my dad. So then I started vibrating again, and I was like, my dad never calls twice. Like, no offense, Dad, love you, but he never calls twice. And so then...
Oh, not like tonight, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, for real. And all of a sudden, I just start hearing, like, hello, hello, and I'm like, what the heck? I turn, I accidentally FaceTime the man. Oh, my God. And I'm like, you just see my face, and, like, he just sees, I'm like, I'll call you right now. Like, I'm so sorry. And I call him and I'm like apologizing. He's laughing and he's like, no, like I can tell you probably have some humor. Like, no, I'm just laughing. I'm like, this is just horrible. It's my first like phone call with this coach and he probably thinks I'm a nut job and like horrible. And then all of us,
That's
what?
An accurate opinion.
Yeah.
Nut job is pretty accurate.
It is, yeah. Yeah. And so then I'm like talking to this man and then all of a sudden it sounds like the 4th of July. Like it's people are blowing it up downstairs. And he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, ooh.
I didn't tell you I'm in Laredo, Texas, did I?
I was like, I forgot to mention I kind of worked upstairs to a gun range. Like, and he started laughing and he was like, I was kind of concerned. Like, I didn't know what was going on, whatever. And then that was pretty cool. And like, just the conversation flowed very well. And he spoke about like his philosophy as a coach and like what the girls had gone through and their previous season and it just sounded right. And they're a successful team, and that's kind of also like winning is fun, and
Right.
I feel like at TAMIU like we kind of had to build, and that was great, and I had a blast doing it. And I just felt like my 5th, like I would also want to have fun and like kind of just help out a successful team into like going somewhere. And he kept bringing up national championship, and I was like, no, this man wants to go somewhere, like, and I think that's perfect for a program, and it was just great. And ever since then, like, started actually like wanting to book a visit, and that was kind of like the most stressful thing, and it was cool. But also, I was still in college, and I was like, damn, I gotta graduate first. Like that was also kind of, yeah. And so then I remember coming in like telling George like about it, and like he was like stoked, like Oregon, like it was always Oregon. And it was kind of like, okay, like it felt like things are gonna go somewhere with it, and I was like really excited.
Yeah. Oregon's beautiful, man. If you haven't been there, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Where are Eugene, right?
Yeah, in Eugene.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
something
I
else, man.
and to be honest with you, like I didn't even know where Oregon was until I got on the flight, and like the airplane
You
had
saw
the
the
TV,
map. Yeah.
and I was like,
Where is it?
damn.
I'm going pretty far.
I know, and I was like, damn, because everyone was like, where is it? And I was like, it's in Oregon. Like, just like
Oregon.
didn't know
Come
where.
on, you know where Oregon's at.
And so it was just funny, and I didn't even know where it was at. That's the funny part. And so then I had gone on my visit, and like ever since getting there, like the girls were so nice, and like it just like, and I kept telling the coach, and I felt so bad because he was like, "What are you looking for?" And I was like, "I just want to like feel the vibe." I kept saying vibe, and he was looking at me like, "Why are you using vibe?" But he was like, and he made a joke afterwards, like, how's the vibe? Like, and I was like, yeah, this is great. Like, this is definitely so, like, this is a grad student coming in. Like, this is kind of embarrassing. But it was so cool. And, like, just seeing his, like, coaching style. And I practiced with the girls. I was able to go to, like, different, like, I guess, little for lunch. And to be able, we had, like, some team bonding at, like, some Top Golf simulation. I've never, like, golf. So that was kind of, having to like swing one in front of them for the, like, it was kind of like, it gave the same thing as bowling. Like it was kind of awkward, like a little bit.
Walk back.
Yeah, it was. Everyone was like, "Woo!" I was like, "I know you don't mean it." Like I swung air, babe. Like I missed the ball. It was so funny, but it was so cool, and like it just felt right. Like it's a feeling that like even Coach Harriet, like TAMIU, would tell me, and she was like, "If it feels right, go for it." And it felt right, and I was kind of like really excited. The girls were also kind of sad, like for me to leave, and so then I felt kind of cool. Like I felt wanted, and it felt really nice. And then the scenery, like the people were nice. Like the weather was like in the 60s, something you don't see in Laredo.
Right.
Yeah. And so then that was like super cool. And I came back, and I kind of was like this is where I want to go.
Yeah, the 60s in May. Right.
That is
yeah.
crazy.
But we already hit 115 by that time.
Yeah.
10, yeah.
Yeah.
So you graduated. What was your degree in?
Yeah, well, that's the funny part. I almost didn't. But when I was crying in here, you can't let that out. That's actually pretty fun.
Okay.
Yeah. He's like,
Wait,
you
which
don't.
one of the 7 times though?
Imagine.
No, you came in here for a week crying.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
that's true.
sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I
Monday
just
through
remember.
Friday.
One time I walk in and I'm just like, Ari's on the ground on her computer, and I ask Alyssa. I said, "What's going on, Alyssa?" She's like, "She's taking a test." No, what? She's taking a test. Like, okay. All right. And she's like, there, all you hear.
Who used to do it?
Like, all right.
Crisia,
That's
I
it.
think, right?
Huh?
Crisia used to do her homework here or something like that.
Who?
Yeah.
Crisia?
Oh, yeah. Crisia, yeah. Same.
No,
Yeah.
you two are the only people who have done schoolwork here.
Yeah, I mean it
That's-
makes sense.
Yeah.
So
It
I
does
had,
not.
I had the so the essay was due at like noon, so it was like I was in here at like 9 something. I was like going crazy, and it got done. So
Yeah.
like I turned it in, whatever. That was
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Obviously, she passed.
Obviously, I graduated, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so I remember like I had a final I was like super nervous for, and I was like losing sleep over. And then we didn't know the like grades for that class like at all, and it was like you need to take it like only your senior year.
Right.
And I like borderline like harassed the man. I felt so bad. I was calling him every day. I was like, can I meet with you office hours? Never would reply. I showed up like unannounced to his office hours. I was like, I need to know, like, am I passing? And he was like, I'll let you know later. I was like, you can't do this to me. Like I am like the definition of anxiety. So I was like, no. And I called him again the next day, and he was like, no, like you'll figure it out in like 3 days. I'm like, I graduate in 4. Like my grandma is like, I'm so excited for graduation. And I'm like about to puke because I'm like, I don't even know if I am graduating, Grandma. Like, this is crazy. But I didn't want to tell anyone that. So then everyone was like, oh, congrats on committing. I'm like, dude, I committed, but like, I need to graduate first. Like, it was, yeah.
Dude,
and I
she
remember,
came in like freaking out. It's like, George, I don't know. I'm like, all right, seriously. You passed. Don't just stop it.
Yeah.
Get ready.
No, I
You've
remember.
got everything ordered. You're ready. You've got everything ready to go. You're gonna graduate. Okay,
Yeah.
so don't worry. How many
Yeah.
classes have you failed? None. Okay, you're graduating. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
he's talking in that tone, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like, and I'm crying in a Kool-Aid shirt. I remember that. Like, I remember that vividly. And my hair was a mess. I had bags
Facts.
it was
Facts.
crazy.
Yeah.
And then like I called the man again after class, like after I got out of here, and then like he was like, I passed everyone. Like you didn't fail. Blah blah blah. I was like, thank you. Like hung up, pulled off the loop into like the little fire station, was crying my eyes out. Like I'm graduating. Like, and then I was like, wait, this man could lie to me. Like he could. Like no, the overthinking was crazy. Like it was crazy.
Oh my god.
And like I literally showed up to graduation, and like when I gave her my name for check-in, I was like, she's probably not gonna say my name's here. Like I was really nervous, but then like I got the little like fake diploma, and I was like, okay, they said my name. Like
It's
I'm
done.
pretty sure I graduated. And so then people were like, why haven't you posted your commitment? I was like, dude, I have to make sure I graduate first, like before I post like committed somewhere. It's kind of crazy. And I remember like the coach was even calling and like asking how that was going, and I remember like telling him like, I'm so nervous. Like I almost thought I didn't graduate. Like I was crying my eyes out for like a week straight. It was so crazy. It was insane. I went to church. Like I'm a religious person, but like I was at church every single day. Like please God. Like I was stressed out. Like
Coming
to say
from a
the
person
max.
who never failed the class or probably never dropped a class.
But then I remember I like PR'd that week too. On I think
Yeah.
it was the back
That's
squat.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. The
Yeah.
back squat. What was it, like 2?
It was like
80?
oh
Two-
wait.
what?
It was the 25. I don't know. Big numbers. Really big numbers. But I remember I was like
245, 265.
yeah.
Something
Around
like that,
there.
right?
Yeah. And I honestly like I thanked my professor for that lift. Not gonna lie. I was driven by pure stress. Like what pre did you use? Be like nothing. Like it was just pure stress and anxiety. But it was cool. I mean I made it.
So May was really this past May, which is what 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Was a crazy month for you, right?
Yeah.
You graduated, you committed,
Yeah.
and then tell us a little bit about what you did. What is that? Memorial Day weekend?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
did you decide to do on Memorial Day weekend?
Voluntold. So one bright morning, I don't know how we even got into like the conversation of like doing a different type of like Murph, but it ended up like having a crazy idea of running 4 miles every 4 hours for 24 hours, and I was like, hell no! Like I literally run maybe at most 2. Like I'm not gonna last 4. And then everyone was saying yes, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Like everyone's gonna go do it. Like I can't be the only one from the morning session to like say
The
no.
breakfast
I mean,
club.
once
The
you
Breakfast Club, for
once
real.
you heard Bice say yes, you were like, I'm doing
Yeah, if
this.
Bice is doing it, then
If
I
Bice
have to
is
do
doing
too.
it,
Like, I
I'm
can't
doing
let
it,
Bice
yeah.
out-
Yeah.
Yeah.
outdo me.
Yeah.
That's not gonna.
Yeah. And then I was just like super nervous, but I was like, no, I'm gonna go run. Like I'm gonna train. Like no, I ran 2 miles the day before.
Well,
like
we had like 3 weeks notice.
yeah.
no?
Either way,
Like,
I
you
ran
can't
the day
train for
before.
that.
Yeah.
2 miles. I was like, you know what? Whatever.
prepared.
Like
Yeah.
I was so nervous. I wasn't aware like what I was gonna eat that day. Like it was terrifying. But I was like super excited too. I was like really like, like going through it together and stuff. I was like, okay, like this is gonna be something like really cool to talk about like in the future. That was my main motive. I was like,
just bragging rights
for like future kids and grandkids.
Okay.
Like, I was like super excited until I actually started like realizing like I have to run 4 miles. Like that's when it hit. But we all got here and we were like super nervous. And then we were all stretching like if we were about to run a marathon, which like we practically did, And then we were like, you were late. I remember that.
Yeah.
And we were like, And we were like, should we
minutes
go?
late.
Should we not? Like, and we were like, no, let's go because we only have 4 hours until our next one. And ends up being a test.
No,
on how to
Life
not leave
lesson.
a person behind.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Curveball. I still to this day I believe you were just late. And on the drive here, you were like, you know what? I could use this. I could turn this into something.
This is a life lesson right here. Like,
well, it's dark. It's night. It's Labor Day
Yeah.
weekend. It's a Sunday night. What's everybody doing? Laredo, Texas,
Yeah.
956. Everybody's drinking, partying, carne asadas.
yeah.
So I wanted us all to stay together.
Yeah.
And we
it was
did.
8 p.m. 8 p.m. It was still like 90
yeah.
degrees outside, which was insane to me. And I remember like first 2 miles, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this for like another.
What was the first route?
It was
was
we
around
had
here.
gone like around like
Oh, yeah,
we passed like
Plantation.
McDonald's,
Yeah.
And I remember like not sponsored by Tremendo Taco, but we were running past like the Mendel,
I remember.
and I remember turning to my right and seeing everyone just like eating, and I was like, I'm like jealous. Like if only y'all knew. Like I could probably go in and like house like 10 of those tacos, and so I was like running, and I was like, it's fine. Like it's gonna be worth it. Like skinny girl summer, we're good. Focus forward. And then we finished, and like I just remember like laying down, and then my eyes closed, and then they were wide open again at like, what was it, midnight was the next
Midnight.
one.
Yeah.
But I actually like we had that like caffeinated gum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for the midnight one. And
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know, maybe it was like the
I
fact
think
that
it did
like
work.
it was like different, like you're not really used to running at midnight.
Right.
But that run was super nice. And that's the one that we had like stayed together.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
to JetBull?
That
Yeah,
was to
to
JetBull.
JetBull.
That was my best run.
That was so nice.
I think I did like 50 minutes on that one.
Wow.
That was
That's
my
really
best run
good.
of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my worst.
I think the scenery too.
Yeah, that was your
I
worst.
mean,
Yeah.
it's
And
not
like,
gorgeous. But
what's funny is like I was replaying the like you never leave anyone behind. Like the whole time he was like take off. I'm like no, this is a test. Like I'm not gonna take off.
yeah, you guys did pretty good. You
Yeah.
kept up though.
No, yeah, like it was great.
That one, the second one at midnight, she stayed with me
Yeah,
because my breathing was off, bad,
yeah.
really bad.
And he was like, just
So-
keep going. I was like, no.
Yeah, once we got to McDonald's, when there was like 30 people in the drive-through at 1 o'clock in the morning.
We were about to make 31 with me, for real.
Yeah.
You
There
know, I
was
just told her,
always
just go,
people-
just go. She's like,
I think
no.
every time we passed by, there was somebody in the drive.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's
yes,
crazy.
That's
No, when we went to Gold's from
Yes.
at 4 a.m.
Yes, that was the next run.
and there was people at Blue Moon.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
That
was
whole
crazy.
parking
That
lot
was so
slam
crazy.
packed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I honestly felt so like good about myself.
Yeah, it fe-
like,
oh, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, after the midnight run, I was like, this is amazing. Like, I love life. Like, running is great. Like, it was so nice. And then the 4 a.m. one, like, I remember taking a nap, but I was like cramping, like, mid sleep. Like, it was like my calves, like, I would just jump up and I was like, it was so bad.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm just thinking the king of the cramps was Bison.
Yeah, Vice would
I
walk
think,
in here.
but
beat
by
up.
this point, like everyone was waddling. Like everyone was like kind of like everyone's legs hurt. Everyone was like just in front of the fan. We would eat the fruit in silence. Like
Yeah.
no one was saying anything, and we would just change and then go back. And then the 4 a.m. like running, I was falling asleep like mid run. I remember that. I was like, I could sleep on this concrete right now. Like it was actually really comfortable to look at. And I was like, I'm gonna have a really good PB&J when I get back. Like, it was my main motive, was food, of course. And I was just like, dude, like the food's gonna smack. Like that was the only reason why I was like, let's keep going, like so we can get back to the food. I was like so excited. And then we got back and like the next one was what, 8 a.m.?
8 a.m.
Yeah. And the stretching just got progressively worse though. Like I was really trying just to sleep. Like it was so hard to like wake up and like mentally be like, we're gonna run again. And like, but then knowing that like I was doing it with people helps so
Yeah,
much.
definitely helps. Because the 8 and the 12 was the same path, was it not?
Yeah, we
Right?
went through
Like
like
through
the
the back?
neighborhood.
Through the back
But
of the
the 12
neighborhood?
was so much worse than the 8 because the 8 was still kind of cool
Yeah,
outside.
yeah.
It
So
was
the
nice.
shade was
Yeah.
nice. And like you would see other people running, and I was like, oh, like little do you know, I've slept maybe 2 hours. Like nice.
Yeah, I
people
think we
working
averaged.
out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we averaged. I don't know, what, an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. I don't think.
I think we did pretty
Nice.
good for not being runners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We did really good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
being able to accomplish it and finish it.
You
and
too,
yeah,
for being
you know,
75. That's impressive.
you know, that's a great team building. It's also, resetting your mindset.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it is. It was
Yeah.
a great bonding experience. Sleeping on the you got to go home.
Well,
Yeah.
I slept on
I
the
had to.
turf right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even sleep.
I shared
I
an
did
air
not sleep.
mattress. I shared air mattress with Alyssa, and I felt so bad because anytime I would move, like it was like whoosh, I was like, damn. I was like, I'm sorry. And you would feel whenever one of us would get a cramp because you just feel like a sudden like movement, like jump. And it was just like calves were gone, like my feet, my toes hurt so bad. I don't know what it was. I was like, damn, like this is crazy. And like Bice was like in a corner.
Yeah, Bice was on the treadmill, I think.
Bice was on the
Just
treadmill.
sleeping on the treadmill.
And like it took him maybe like 10 minutes to stand up. Like,
Yeah.
like I remember I was like, you're not gonna be able to run. Like you can't even walk out the door, babe.
No.
Like this is crazy. And it was he was a trooper. And what's so funny is like he would waddle, but he would talk so much crap at the same time. Like he was like, no man, I can run like 20 more of these miles. I'm like, I don't know, Bice. Like can you walk to the restroom, my guy? But like,
Hey, considering
Love
for
it for
someone
that.
that was on their deathbed, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that's a great accomplishment.
Yeah.
And well, he'll tell his story, but yeah, he went on to go do, go perform and do what he needed to do. But it was a good reset for everybody to start
Yeah.
the summer.
yeah.
It was a good reset.
Yeah.
Everybody who participated in it, maybe that's something that,
For sure, an annual thing. I think.
redo it,
Yeah, I
redo
agree.
it again.
I would.
It's
I'll
Labor Day.
train.
That same day,
everybody's
I said,
back from school.
Yeah.
And the young bucks that are here now, maybe there's a few that may be able to need it, and I think it's good. I think it sets. I mean, you've had a great summer. I know, doing your thing, and I know you have Adi doing your thing. I know Alyssa and then Bice, have pulled and Banana Anna has also
Nirvana.
I'm sure Nirvana's over there, working tonight. And so so everybody's summer has been, productive.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but the mindset changes, man. Once you
Absolutely.
do something like that,
Absolutely.
It did.
it changes.
It
Conquered
really
the
did.
world.
Because now, like, anytime I'm like, that's really hard. I'm like, no, babe,
it's not.
you just, you did it. Like, and it was so weird, like, telling people that, like, oh, like, did you do this? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. Like, damn, I did that. Like, I don't know. I forget about it sometimes. But then, I don't know. It's pretty cool. And, like, honestly, like, it taught, like, mental toughness, too.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of, like, there's many opportunities we could have just been like, no, we
Let's
can,
call it.
like, we
Yeah.
can wait maybe 30 minutes more. Like, no, like, we were up and we were changing and, like, even
Going
though we didn't
and
want
doing.
to, but we still did.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just, like, proved a lot. Like,
It did. It did.
Yeah.
It really did. It proved a lot. And you look in the mirror and you see a different reflection. And
Yeah.
you're going off to school. You're going off to school, and and times will get tough, as we all know, and you'll be able to overcome
Yeah.
and do your thing, and that's huge. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to do it too. To get your mind right for the summer. Because you're at home. You haven't been home. Well, you have been, but you're at home. You just graduated. You're gonna go to a new school. You're gonna have distractions. Your friends are gonna want to go out, do this, do that. Family trips and all that good stuff. And speaking of, you took a little trip. You just got back from a little trip.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
A big trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went halfway around the world to go see some friends in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Tell us.
How do I tell you? like where I went?
Yeah, well, where
Yeah,
did you
where
go?
did you go?
Where did you go?
Where did you go?
Usually
What did
people
you
tell us
do?
where they go.
And what were
when we
your
ask
friends
them about
that you
their
kind of
trip.
nailed? And
We went. My family and I were very fortunate enough to go to New Zealand.
Okay.
We went to Auckland for a day, which is like the city, and then we flew to Queenstown, which is a little more in like the mountains, and like we went for a hunt. And my dad and I went with a bow, and then my siblings, my younger brother, my younger sister, and my mom went with a rifle. And I honestly had no idea what to expect. Like, you're looking around at the terrain and you're like, damn, like those are really high mountains. And then they're like, oh yeah, like, so we're gonna park here and then we're gonna take off and then we're gonna go and crawl this and go and hike that. And I'm like, damn, like the 24 miles in preparing for this, like, tell you that. And it was like -4 Celsius, so it's like in the 20s. So like complete shock. Like coming from here was like, I was tanning the day before I left, which is crazy. And of course,
tanning for New Zealand. That's
I had to. And
That's
it was
exotic as hell.
yeah, it was beautiful. And so the first 2 hunts, we had gone just to like go out, and like people would tell me like, oh, like something's probably gonna be there. It's not gonna be that hard. No, like we walked a lot and we hiked a lot. I fell a lot. Like, I ate it down the mountain a couple times. Like, the branches would keep me there. Like, I was just like, every time I'd fall, I'd be like, damn, like that's another 15 yards I have to go up. Like, that's crazy. And like the guides that we had, great people. And one was Jared, and then it was Joey, and they would run up these mountains like it was like us running on like concrete. It was crazy, and I'm like out of breath trying to keep up, and I'm still not keeping up. And then it just hit where it was kind of like, who's shooting this thing? Like, I am. Like, I can take the time. Like, I need to, like, you know, like, save it. And the first day it was raining, and so we would just like go and just start walking these mountains and just try to like find and spot things that we could. And then we weren't successful the first day. Like, we just weren't in a position to shoot. I mean, like, very skittish animals, especially at that time. It was kind of like later in the season. And then the second day we had gone back out, and again, like, didn't get to take a shot because they were just very skittish. The wind was kind of not in our favor. And then the third day, the third morning, it was my turn. And so where he kind of was is he was kind of like down. So we were going to go like around him and then come from like up top just because where the wind was. And we had to like go into this creek, but it was like 10 meters deep. Like, you would look up and it was just straight rock. I felt like I was like in some Vietnam War. It was crazy. Like, I honestly was like, what the heck am I doing? Like, it hit me at one point. I was walking and I was falling and I was eating it. And I had branches, like, I was kind of like, what the heck am I doing here? Like, this is so weird. Like, it was just weird. And then I was borrowing one of our like good friends at the ranges, like his harness. So I brought back tons of dirt on the back. And he was like, why is it dirty in the back? I was like, you want to know? Like, like, I ate it a lot. And we had walked a good ways in through there. And I felt so bad because the guy in front of me would walk and like the branches would smack back. And I didn't know that at the beginning. So I kept like smack with branches. And then that was crazy. And then we were able to make it up. And we were going to go above him. And then he ended up like standing and started feeding. So we were kind of see like where it was. The shot was about to be like at like 50 yards. And then he ended up getting spooked by other fallow deer around the area. It took off. So we had lunch, went back. Same deal. But now he was on top of a mountain. And I ended up having to crawl like 200 yards. And I just thought about us on the track when you had us bear crawl and crawl. And I was like, I was prepared for this day. Like, in its own way. I was like, at the moment, doing those bear crawls, I was like, damn, I hate my life. Like, this is crazy. Like, this is horrible. But then I was there, like, crawling with one arm and the bow. And, like, he would turn back to look at me. I'm like, just keep going. Like, don't look at me. Like, this is embarrassing. Like, I look insane. Like, my hair, I was sweating. And the bow, and I was like, and I had done my nails for this trip. It's just a girl thing, I guess, but like hunting with acrylics was kind of crazy. And so I was like an ape, like, because I didn't want to
like triple chicken,
literally. And I was like really like trying. And then we got there and we waited for about an hour. And like, I loved not having Wi-Fi. I loved not having a phone there. Like, it was great just watching everything around me. Then I remembered I had to hunt this thing, and I was like, damn. So then I was kind of like layering off because I wasn't used to shooting a bow with like a bunch of jackets on. And then he had gone up, and we had ended up going through like some more bushes or branches and stuff. My beanie got stuck to the branch, and so I'm there, and I'm like, I'm stuck. And he was like, dude, and I'm like, my hair is a mess. I'm not gonna get out of it like this. And he was like, you serious? Like, we're on a hunt. I'm like, I'm not about to get out. My hair is a mess. Like, if this beanie comes off, like, it's gonna be bad. And he was like, the deer don't care about your hair. And I was like, I care about my hair. Like, this is gonna be crazy. So then I was like, fine. I get out of the beanie, and the beanie's stuck on this branch, and he's like, I'll be back for it after everything's done. No worries. My hair is like this. My hair, like, it's crazy. And he was like, I'm like, don't ask. And he was like, I don't want to. It's scary. I'm like, that's great. So then we keep going, and then he ended up getting up to feed, and he started walking up the mountain. And so that first, like, I mean, I guess, like, backhand knowledge, archery and, like, bow hunting with animals like that, you're lucky if you get 50 yards, 60 yards. That's kind of like the normal, the base point, just because how skittish it is, all that good stuff. So when he walked up, we tried walking up underneath and tried to meet him in the middle. And he had a walkie-talkie, and so we're just walking, and I still haven't seen the animal. So I'm, like, not nervous. I'm, like, kind of, like, really calm. And then on the walkie-talkie starts going off, like, he's right above you. Like, stop moving, stop moving. And I'm, like, where the heck is this thing? Like, I'm, like, freaking out. And I start, like, shaking, and it's my first time with a bow, so I have no idea what to expect. And he was, like, next to me in the tree, so he couldn't see. And he was like, can you see anything? And I just see things move. And I'm like, huh? Like, I'm wanting to throw up at this point. And, like, I just see this, like, huge rack, like, come out, and it's 16 yards away from me. 1-6. And I'm like, ugh. And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm about to throw up. And he was like, you don't have time to throw up. I was like, well, we're about to throw up. Like, there's no way I can, like, this is crazy. And so the thing starts, and he's like, draw back. I'm like, no, like, no. And he was like, what do you mean no? And I'm like, no, I can't. Like, and so I'm like, what do I put it at? Like, how far is he going to be? Like, and I'm like, knowing that, like, usually these things are kind of far. And he's like, put it like 15 yards. 15. I'm like 1.5, like 15. And he was like, hurry up. And I'm like, okay. Like, and I draw back, and I'm just waiting for this thing, and I can just see his, like, I haven't seen the body yet. It's just all rack. And I'm like, ugh, like, and I'm shaking. I can't think straight. Like, I'm about to puke. I'm burping mid, like, draw back, and I'm burping. It's kind of gross. Sorry, podcast. But, and I'm there, and then all of a sudden, it's like everything I ever practiced just went out straight the door. Like, I didn't know how to handle it. Like, it was crazy. and like, I just see this, like, and the sun was coming at us. I just see this, like, huge body, like, right in front of me. And I'm like, ugh, like, it's so bad. And he's like, shoot it. And I'm like, ugh, like, and I'm nervous, not shooting. And then I shot. And then he ended up, like, taking off. And then, like, and then once the shot went off, I knew that I had made contact. He knew that. And so he was like, I'm going to go get the stuff. Like, because he had, like, a rifle and, like, all my jackets and my beanie that was stuck on some branch back there, you know? And so I'm like, okay. So as soon as he leaves, it all hits me, and I start crying my eyes out. Like, it was hard. And so I start crying, and then he ends up coming back, and he's, like, running because, like, all the adrenaline because of how close he was. Like, it's not, you know, like, normal. And he was like, are you crying, mate?
I was gonna ask what their accent was like.
It's like
Where you
English.
calling, mate?
It's
Yeah.
very English, and it's so cool. Like, I literally was like, and at one point he was like trying to imitate like a Texas accent. It was so cool. Like, I honestly, these guys were amazing. Yeah. And so then, and I'm like, of course I'm crying. Obviously with some cuss words in it because I was really emotional. And he was like, he came up to me and he like side hugged me for not even a second. And he was like, I gave you your comfort. And he's like, we're still hunting. No, like, let's go. And he starts running, and I'm like, okay, like running. Hair is also everywhere, mind you. My beanie's still gone, and he has my beanie in his like arms, and I'm like, at least he has the beanie, whatever. So I start running, and like he's running down this like mountain, and I'm like, you want me to run down that? Like, I'm gonna eat it, like respectfully, like I need to take my time. And he's like, just keep one foot in front. I'm like, I don't need to hear any of that. I'm still gonna eat it, like whatever. And I start running. I'm rolling my ankle every other step, like, but I'm making it. Like, I'm not eating it. Like, I'm just running and like tears are drying up because of like, I guess how fast I thought I was going. But then my dad showed me the video and it was kind of embarrassing.
You have the video?
My dad has the video.
Okay.
Yeah, very embarrassing. And like, so I'm like running down and like whatever. And I'm like still crying. And then he ends up like dropping. And then like all of a sudden, like my dad shows up with my sister because they were like a good like 600 yards away, another mountain, spotting the whole thing. And like I just start crying, and then like my sister comes up to me, she opens up this like zipper and she takes out lip gloss, and I'm like, you're a lifesaver, because the pictures were next. So then I was like, oh my god. So then and the guy was like, is that lip gloss? I'm like, yeah, it's lip gloss, like whatever. And a lip liner and eyelash curler. So I like curled my eyelashes because they were all like, mascara was like everywhere. And then I like fixed my hair in the window. And then I like put lip gloss on and I was there with the picture. It was like, I guess a girl. But it was so funny. Like I've never ever met a girl like do their makeup before. Like I'm like, you gotta stay strapped, like for real. Like you gotta like with the lip gloss is crazy.
So what did you kill?
I was a red stag. So it's like it kind of looks like an elk, but it's kind of like just a different. Like they're kind of like built the same way, I guess, but they kind of go more outwards. And so yeah, so that was just a crazy experience. And I ended up, I mean, I was able to like, they put like the rack like on your shoulders. And then I like looked up and it was like up a mountain. I'm like, there's no way I'm walking that. But then my dad was like recording and I was like, I gotta look like I'm in shape to do this. So I was like walking like, okay, like trying to laugh. I even say triple chicken when I'm like going up, which is kind of funny. And
that is pretty
and I'm
funny.
like, I have to show George's. Like he's not gonna believe like I actually walked up with this like massive thing on my back, which is like really heavy. And I ended up making it, and then it was just like so cool, and I was just like on a high. Like I cried a couple times more after that, just because like it's an experience that like you just can't get that back. You can't like I don't know how to explain it. Like it's once in a lifetime type deal. Like especially for me,
right.
And like I don't know. It's just something that like the terrain, like the people I met, like the opportunity to even get an animal like that, and like the way it happened, like it was just crazy. And then my dad was able to get his later on and like witness him and like seeing him do that from afar, like next to my sister. It was something that like it just meant so much, just like because knowing my dad and that's like his life, and it's all he ever knew growing up, and his connection with his dad, and it was just a really big like seeing this man his natural element. Like it was just so much to me, and it was just so nice. And we all ended up coming back with an animal, and my sister and my mom and my brother took theirs the following day. My mom showed us how it was done. Like she sniped the thing at like over 300 yards, which is just crazy. No, yeah,
that's crazy.
She's legit.
Yeah, and she did it, and like she's so funny. Like she was wearing these like big like old Oakley glasses, and like just seeing her afterwards was just so funny. And then my brother got his at like short, I think over 200.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's a great shot.
No, yeah, Weddles. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then my sister, I'm not sure how far she got hers at, but it was also like really good. And it was just a great experience. Like that was amazing. The sleep definitely, like the time change definitely kicked my butt, just because they were 17 hours ahead. So it was like when it was noontime over here, it was like 6 a.m. over there. So then that was like a complete change. By the time we left, I adjusted to that time. So when I got back, like I did not sleep for the first 3 days. I had slept an hour a night. But what sucks is like I would fall asleep at like 6 a.m. like 5. No, I would fall asleep like at 5 a.m. here, just because that was like 11 p.m. over there. So then like that would mess me up, because if I would fall asleep, I was not gonna wake up for an alarm. You know that. Yeah, I was in the summer speed. Yeah. So the first 3 days, I was only sleeping an hour to get there.
That's crazy.
So then I wouldn't work out here, just I felt like so fatigued. But then after that, you know, the sleep caught up, and then I'd fall asleep and I'd wake up at like 2 p.m. like freaking out, calling Alyssa. I'm like, dude, George is gonna kill me. Like I was like freaking out. And that was
7 hours later, she calls.
Yeah, because I was sleeping. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, yeah, it's the honest truth, guys. I couldn't wake up. Sorry, summer speak.
So for the kids that are listening to this podcast,
you know,
Coach Ari was not able to make it because she could not wake up.
Yeah.
Fact.
so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was great. I mean,
So now you get ready to leave.
yeah.
So you're leaving in how many days?
In a week.
In a week.
Leave
You leave in a
Tuesday.
week to Oregon and to play your senior year
Yeah.
and start working on your master's, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You never told us what you're majoring in.
Oh yeah. I got my degree in business with a concentration in marketing, and then I'm getting an MBA. So that's kind of just like, to be honest, I couldn't really tell you what it's in.
Just to keep
I
playing.
just know
It's an MBA.
It's an
and
MBA,
you
and
know.
I just know it's gonna get me somewhere. Like hopefully.
You can go work for Pepsi. What? No.
Chipotle.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, you never know.
I'm gonna get that triple chicken.
That triple chicken, yeah. So, let me ask you this. Out of the last, what is the most memorable moment you've had growing up in Laredo, being a volleyball athlete, playing volleyball, and the tournaments and all the different places you've been? What's the number one thing you remember of all of it? Whether it's a coach, whether it's, playoffs, whatever it is, what do you think in your mind that you feel like is the number one best experience you've had growing up?
Damn.
That's probably hard to
Play-
think of.
Playing volleyball on the
Playing
courts.
volleyball
Yeah.
on the courts.
Like you're like, wow, okay, we beat West Texas, number one team in the nation, and then they go on to go win the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
Is that probably one?
Well, if West Texas is number one, then what's number two? What's the second most memorable thing?
That's like so hard.
Your first knee surgery? Because that gets you. You know, once you have,
Yeah, I guess it doesn't have to be positive.
no.
I think it honestly, like the whole ab situation took the cake.
Yeah.
That definitely was like really hard. I mean, I remember like she would do some type of like treatment, and it was not like what is it called, like the stem, but it was kind of more like direct. And so she would lay me, like I'd lay down and I was kind of like elongated, but like I'd have to put like a towel in my mouth and cover my face because I would like cry. And it was right before games. And she would go into different parts, and I would leave sweating. And I remember like teammates, like people had to like leave the room. Like it was just not like it was horrible. It was something that like I really do not stress. Like I would not wish this like pain upon like anyone. Like it felt like I was being skinned and burned and gutted alive. Like it was insane. And then after that, what weekend was that? Because I remember I had like a really good game after that. I think it was at St. Mary's game. It was that fourth set, fifth set type deal. And I honestly started the game so bad. Like I literally looked at her and I was like, dude, take me out. Like I'm like ruining it. And then my cousin and my tios from like Austin, they were able to like, they surprised me that game to go watch. So that was also like, I felt like I was like letting them down. And all of a sudden like switched, like one to the next. It was just like, I don't know, like I ended up having like a career high of like 25 kills that night.
Wow.
And yeah, no, it was crazy. I was hitting crazy percentage. Like it was insane. And then like just to know like right before that, yeah, I think that was like probably the most memorable game was that St. Mary's game.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
We
crazy.
ate good after that, I'll tell you that. Chick-fil-A never tasted so good after that.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He's like, ew.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I'll say it was that game.
Yeah. So now you're wrapping it up, going to your next chapter in life, your master's, grad school, 5th year, volleyball on the West Coast, which it's going to be a blast, just being out there. You've come a long way. What would you tell your younger self or the younger kids that are playing right now? Because you've trained with some of them in here while they're working out.
Yeah.
What would you tell them if they want to get to that level that you've played at and going to continue to play at? What would you tell them so they could be there too in the next, 3, 5, 7 years? What would you say to them?
To kids now.
Yes.
I would definitely encourage like not following or not falling into like the, how do I say it, like following into like the crowd of like, I feel like it's so easy just to be like, oh, like complain about like workouts and complain about like coaches and complain about practices, when it's like, no, like why don't you just like trust the people who are like guiding you and trust your workouts and like be better like for yourself. That's one thing I wish that I told my like my younger self. I feel like even like freshman year in like high school, it was like so like easy, just like, oh, like coach said this, coach said that. I was like, maybe coaches have a point sometimes. Like maybe this is true about this. Like maybe this is why we're not winning. Like, and I feel like I wish I would have taken it upon myself to like just be more, like, I guess more disciplined at like a younger age.
Right.
But I think also like trying to like try to have fun playing the sport. Like you're supposed to love the sport. I think that's one thing that's the reason why I didn't want to play at one point. I think I was too hard on myself and I was too like driven. It just became more of a job, and like we're kids, you know?
Yeah.
Like in reality, like we are
Yeah.
kids playing the sport.
Right.
And I feel like you play your best when you have fun.
Oh, absolutely,
So I think
100%.
that's one thing that I would like definitely push. It's just to have fun.
Go out there and have fun.
Yeah. Is that bad?
No, that's
no,
great.
Oh, okay.
No,
That's
I was like-
absolutely great.
No, I think that that's the key to success, is having fun while you're doing it.
Yeah.
You've got to have fun. If it's not fun anymore, it's time to hang it up.
Yeah.
If you question yourself as to should I even go, then you shouldn't go.
Yeah.
You should just keep moving forward. And if there's ever a thought process that maybe I shouldn't go, maybe I shouldn't do this, maybe those things, those maybe I shouldn't, should never enter your mind. You just go and do.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to hang them up at some point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And once
And
they're
then
hung,
you
that's
just
it.
want to be able to say, hey, I gave it my best. I was able to do what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. That's
I
what it
agree.
is. You know? That's what it is.
Yeah. I think it's like my big motive, like especially going into my fifth. Like, C19,
Yeah.
wasn't the greatest, but like if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to like go play and like go play somewhere else and
Right.
go and mature. Because obviously, I care about like the program and wanting to be successful and stuff, but I feel like also like on a personal level, like I feel like I have a lot of like maturing to do away from home. And
Sure.
I think that's something I'm like really excited for, and like really just going with like an open mind. Like I'm glad I'm doing this at 22 and not 18, because
Yeah.
I feel like decisions would be so different. I mean, great for you. Sorry you went in at 18, but like I don't know. I think like personally, I
No,
think
you have a
that
good point. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just gonna
different.
be a little different.
But yeah, imagine if you had quit in high school
Yeah.
during those surgeries. Like, you would not be here right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of experiences and lessons you would not have learned. You'd be in a completely different spot right now.
Very
Yeah.
different. Very
I think
different.
like another piece of advice I would give is like don't make your sport your identity. I think that is one thing that
That is a great point. I spoke to somebody about this today.
yeah.
I just spoke to somebody about this today, which is the game doesn't make you. Okay? You are not the game.
Mm-hmm.
You're only borrowing the game. It's like winning. Winning is just borrowed.
Yeah.
Okay? You got to work so hard to win.
Yeah.
Okay? So the game, you are not the game. You're just playing the game.
Yeah.
It's not who you are, it's what you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that gets twisted very badly. And that's when you start going down bad rabbit holes, because you fail. You go 0 for 4. You go, you have a bad game. You pitch a bad game. And all of a sudden, you think that's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's just what you did. It's
Yeah.
not who you are. You learn the lessons from that.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you should really digest those lessons and go through it and talk yourself through each situation when you do fail like that.
Yeah.
Because there are people that, I'll give you a perfect scenario. This is kind of messed up, but there was one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. This was a while back, and he was a football player. I don't know if he was a quarterback, but he was one of the top players in the nation. And his parents kept telling him, "Man, you get a girl pregnant, your life is done." Your life is done. You're not going to go play D1. You're not going to go do this. You're not. Well, the guy ended up getting the girlfriend pregnant. Well, guess what happens? He kills himself. Okay? So you are not. That's just a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's not who you are. That's just what you do.
Yeah.
So when you have that thought of no longer wanting to do what you're doing, or, you know what, I gave it my best shot, and that's all I can do at this point, that's okay.
Yeah.
You step away, you hang it up, and you keep moving.
Yeah, because I
Don't look
remember
back.
like after bad games, I wouldn't eat. Like I lost all like, and it was horrible. And then when I started realizing, like, I don't even remember the mistakes I made in some game my freshman year of college. Like, it's really so small, and it's really like not important. Like,
Right.
they don't define you. Like, it's just. But then I do remember the way I acted after making those mistakes, which does end up, defining me in some way. So I was kind of just like not giving it so much importance, and like trying to figure out like who is Adi.
Right.
Like Adi's not like Adi. She does play volleyball, but she's
Right.
not a volleyball player. Like that's not who I am. Because one day, like I'm gonna stop playing,
Right.
and like people have to like know me for me and
Right.
not for like what I played or whatever. And after I did that, I started noticing my level of play just was so different, because I was playing kind of with like more of like a like I'm human, like this is just, it's a part of it, like I'm learning from it. Boom, next on. And I started eating after bad games too. Like that's what I had noticed, like because I could eat after bad games. Yeah, it was so bad. But yeah, I think that's just like really important, especially like I feel like a lot of kids like really do use sports as like their thing.
I think it's
nowadays.
difficult at a younger age.
Yeah, because it's like
if you have a bad game, what else?
Yeah.
How could you not? They're so
Well,
naive.
I put that on the parents. I put that on the parents, because when we're talking younger, we're saying 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If you're in high school already, you pretty much run your own accounts, social media. But the younger ones, it's the parents that put them out there, And I'll say it, and I've said it for many, many, many years, is that, all these showcases and all this, for example, let's say baseball showcases, it's just a moneymaker. If your kid's a pitcher and he's not throwing 90 plus and he's not, commanding 3 pitches, what are you going to go showcase? What are you going to go showcase? Let them develop, spend the money in development, and then go.
Send your kid to ELEV8.
Well, there you go. You could do that too. You send them to ELEV8, and then, you can elevate your game and end up in Oregon playing ball.
Something like that.
Yeah. Coming from the person that said, "Oh, George, you know what? I feel really heavy, but guess what? I'm jumping really high. Oh, George, I hit the ball so hard last night, I knocked the guy in the face." I'm like, "That's awesome." I'm like, "Yes." Yeah. She goes, "But I'm jumping higher, but I'm a little heavier." I said, "Yeah, that's the way it works."
Yeah. I mean, again, George's brain, I'm like 210. Like, he was like, "What do you weigh?" Like, average, like 2. I'm like, "What do you mean 2?" Like, I was like, "Knock it down." That was so funny.
But, when you go to Chipotle and you get that triple chicken,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're going to need
sponsored.
some of those pictures and some of those triple chicken pictures in that. I don't know where you found that other one, but
The tiger one?
Yeah, the
That's
tiger
so
one.
funny.
Yeah. All of those, we can figure out how to put them on the channel there, and people can get a good laugh out of all that.
Yeah.
So anything else that you want to tell the youth of Laredo, the youth, or, just not so much the youth of Laredo, to be honest, athletes in general, because, playing 4 years of sport, never redshirting, that's hard to do. It's hard on your body. And, even though you say, I'm not a volleyball player, but I know when you're done and you're at grad school, whatnot, when you get that phone call to say, "Hey, let's go play beach volleyball on Saturday," you're going to be there. You're going to be the first one there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're still going to be
warming
playing.
up,
You're
and
going to still be
everyone's like just shows up to play, and I'm like stretching.
Yeah,
Like,
there you go. Yeah, you're stretching and with the lip gloss and the freaking
lip gloss in the zipper, like for real. No, it's so
absolutely. Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to say, Danny? You want, anything you guys want to say about, your next chapter, what you want to say to the kids, because, they all, it's funny because here at the lab, we separate the college and the upper class high schoolers and the pro kids. We separate them from the little ones, but there are times you can't make it at that time, and then you show up in the evening and you're around the 10, 11, 12-year-olds. And it's funny because they all look up to you guys, and they see you guys, and it's like, oh, that's Danny. Oh, he plays college baseball. Oh, that's Ari, college volleyball. Oh, that's so-and-so college, softball. And it's oh, that girl runs track, doesn't she, in college? Yeah. It's impressive, for those kids that they see, and, they, when I was talking to somebody here locally about you, about you helping out some younger girls, doing some private lessons with them, they immediately, the mom was like, she stopped me one morning at the track, and she's like, oh my God, like, yeah, Ari, blah, blah, blah. She just went off and on about you. Like, they do research on you. They know who you are, Yeah. So, yeah, they'll do the research, and they'll figure it all out, and they'll go do all that. Yeah. I mean, that's the time and everything is now, right? Everything is now.
Yeah.
So that's what they want to know. Who's Ari Guerra? Who is she? And then they'll look it up, and oh yeah, she played at South. Oh man, she did this. She got these awards. I know the guy that handed her the award or whatever. So yeah, so it's impressive. So yeah, so it's very important that that when you do talk to these younger kids, they pay attention to every single word, as being out there in the mornings.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have anything else to say, anything that you want to put out there with these kids, because it's tough out there, as you know. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
And it's extremely competitive.
Yeah.
Extremely competitive.
Yeah.
So
I think
I'll give you the last word.
I would say you go for it. You go
Okay,
first.
I'll give you some more time to think. I just want to say that I think especially the youth, it doesn't matter what age you are, but to remember that even the best athletes make the simplest mistakes. And part of the reason that they're so great is because they fail so much too. And maybe you don't see it, but in their hours of grind and work off camera, they're making a lot of mistakes too. And even in game, in front of millions of people, they make mistakes. So for you to make a mistake in game one night, like, so what?
Big deal. Big deal.
Yeah, that's just part of the process. And
yeah, and that's a great point you bring up, Danny. A lot of people I hear, this is ELEV8's 11th year, and all the parents ever want is, win, 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 win. Well, part of the road to success is failure. You failed, I failed, you failed, we've all failed, and that's part of the success. So when you beat West Texas, when you crush St. Mary's, you felt, wow, it's all worth it. When you finish the 24 miles, you're like, wow, it wasn't easy. And that's why not everybody does it.
Yeah.
And there's only a select few that can finish it and then decide, okay, you know what? I'm going to go to grad school and I'm going to finish out my 5th year. Yeah. And so failure is part of the process. Yeah. And I wish more people would understand that, because you cannot coddle these kids. Yeah. They need to fail. They need to be humbled.
Yeah.
They need to be humbled. I can tell you, we have some here that have extremely successful high school careers, and they get to college and they're going to get humbled real quick.
I mean, yeah, I went from playing everything to bench.
Yeah.
And you just
and you're not the only one.
No, yeah.
You're not the only one.
So
there are other volleyball girls that if they got 10 minutes of playtime over a 30-game schedule, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You can be everything, and
yeah. And I mean, to add on to that, I feel like being a perfectionist does as much harm as, I guess the opposite, being a perfectionist. Because I think that's something I personally struggle with a lot, is that I get too into my head and too perfect that instead of making one mistake, learning from it, how to fix it, I'm dwelling on that one, and because I'm just striving just to be this little perfect thing that is not perfect, and it just does more harm in the end.
It snowballs.
Absolutely, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah.
Don't be perfect. Just be consistent.
Be a
Be
person.
disciplined. And do your thing. You know?
Yeah.
Be disciplined. Show up. Get up, dress up, show up. And you won half the battle.
Yeah.
Half the battle.
Yeah. One thing I learned, like, working with the kids, what I saw, like, in some kids, not all.
Right.
All great
Right.
athletes. But just because you show up doesn't mean you're automatically better than the person who didn't.
Right.
A lot of them, people show up and don't actually have that, like, drive to get better. And it's kind of just like you're wasting your time. And there's kids out there, not just Laredo, like, there's a lot of kids everywhere that are wanting to go for the same goal that you are, that are actually putting in the work. So I think it's just like remembering that, like, what your goal is and what you want to work towards, and like using the time and using, like, being grateful for the opportunity that you do get to, like, come in and get extra work done. That's one thing that I wish I did more, like, growing up, was like doing like strength training and like speed training, because I didn't do any of that until like my sophomore year of college, which is really late, I would say. Like, because I mean, high school has their own little groups and stuff, but it's not as like serious and like as this, which is something like
Right.
I do.
That's and Ari, that's something that a lot of people say.
It's the
is
truth.
Like, is that I wish I would have known about ELEV8 sooner when I was in high school. I wish this, I wish that. When Danny got hurt, he was out for a year, 9 months, whatever, not a year. He was out for a year. He hurt his shoulder. And I had I rarely go to, Triple Chicken, but when I do go, it's Triple Chicken. And then so I'm walking out the front door, and somebody's George. I ignore it, and it's Danny. He's like, "Hey, man, I want to come back. I want to go back and play." I said, "Well, here we are. Let's go. Come see me."
Sick.
The following
24
week,
hours later.
the following week, he was here. His dad called me. We talked, and he showed up, and the rest is history. He went off to go play, and he's going to take off to go play again.
Then he took off to run 24 miles.
24 miles, and yeah, exactly. But yeah, so resilience.
Yeah.
Resilience, just be resilient, be committed, be dedicated. And if you don't want to do it anymore, and I will say I do have 2 kids right now that continue to come to the lab but have quit their sport, and I congratulated them because they were mature enough to say, I'm not having fun anymore. This is not fun for me anymore. And I'm not going to do this for my parents. I'm doing it for me. And I was like, good for you. Good for you. Go on and go, change the world. Go be an entrepreneur, what you want to go do. Go create something big. And that's what they're going to go do. And I congratulated them. I don't want people to quit, but if you're not having fun and it's not fun and it's just the 800-pound gorilla on your back and he hasn't eaten Triple Chicken, it's not worth it.
No.
True.
Well, let's close this out. I just want to say one last thing. There's more to life than whatever sport you play.
Yeah.
There's more to life after high school, after college, and if you have to hang it up early, or if you hang it up after playing all your 4 years, it's the same thing. You're gonna have to live out your life, and unless you go pro, then that was it.
Yep.
High school and college.
If you're in high school and you go play, only 3% of the of high school athletes go on to go play next level, and only 1% of those go on to go play pro. Okay, so the odds are slim. Okay, but if you get that opportunity, you go for it and don't look back. But also, if you're not enjoying the process, go do something else.
Yeah.
Go do something else. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And change is good. I think change is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going from the desert to
Yeah.
pine trees and everything
Be a
else.
tree hugger, guys. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Go to
one last thing.
Go to
Okay,
what was it
hold-
called? I don't even know what
Hold
it was
up,
called.
one
I don't
last
wanna-
thing. Hold up. Before we hang this up. What is the name of that restaurant in Eugene, Oregon that you hung out at? That you went to go grab you a foot-long blunt?
Yeah, I was like,
What's the place called?
It's called Chiba Hut.
Chiba Hut.
Chiba
Shout
Hut.
out to Chiba Hut.
Shout out
And
to
what do they
Chiba.
sell at Chiba Hut?
They have subs the size of a blind.
Wow, that's
Oh, I'm
crazy.
shipping them over,
Only
guys.
in Eugene.
yeah.
Only in Eugene.
Only there.
Only Eugene.
Right next to a Dutch Bros.
Hey,
So
Ari,
great.
thank you so much for your time. Thanks for